Sharif Ishaq usually at the bottom of our number 2, but plug him in right here at 1:15 here on this Tuesday. Joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sharif, the Saints season is over. How are we doing?
Fantastic. It feels great. I'm finally happy that dreaded 5-12 nasty season's over with and never have to deal with it again.
It was not good, but it is going to bring about some change. My question is a hypothetical here, but I want you to give me your thoughts on this. Do you believe that this season and the last 4 seasons have created an urgency in the front office to do things differently, or they feel like their process is pretty good, they've just got to get the right guy?
I think I hate to say this, I think I'm going to go with the latter. Okay. And I know that's not what I want to hear because they're so comfortable with what's easy to them. And what's easy is being comfortable, if that makes sense to you. And that's why you keep seeing names like Aaron Glenn pop up and him being maybe the front runner for the head coaching job. It's because they're comfortable with Glenn since he was in the building from 16 to 20 as a secondary coach. So I, in my opinion, think that's the lazy, easy way out. I think that they should become comfortable at being uncomfortable and doing something different like they did after the Hurricane Katrina season and hire Sean Payton. I think they need someone who is an offensive-minded head coach. That's where the game is today. It's an offensive, it's an offensive game. I think they should do that. And would I be upset if they hired Aaron Glenn? No. I think he's a brilliant, head coach probably in years to come. I think he has a chance to be a good head coach. Look what he's done this year with a beat-up Lions squad that's been almost decimated by injuries. So they can relate there if he's a Saints head coach and dealing with injuries. But I think they need to start thinking outside of that building and that Sean Payton tree and just, gut it inside out and just start over.
Let me drill down deeper on your thoughts on the organization. So if they want to keep doing things the way they've done them, then that would indicate that they don't think that anything is necessarily wrong, which they haven't been good in 4 years since Drew Brees left. And I guess they would have to be pinning this on injuries. The reason things haven't gone well is because they've gotten hurt. Is that what you think they believe at the highest level of the organization?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the things that Mickey Loomis continues to say after every season that's come to an end in the last 4 years. We're there. We're close if we're healthy. Look, man, I think this might be the first year where the players are starting to say we can't use injuries as an excuse. I mean, they're right. This is finally the year that the players have actually said, we can't use injuries as an excuse, even though, hey, yeah, we suffered some historical injuries, but we still can't use that as an excuse. I mean, at some point in time, 4 years of saying the same thing, it's almost sounded just like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same exact result. It's got to change. Legit, it has to change. I just can't imagine, Gail, Dennis Lauscha, and Mickey Loomis thinking this is fine. It isn't fine. I mean, don't tell your fan base that we're close if those aren't ifs and we're close aren't getting you wins. They're putting you in a worse spot right now. And I think I think a lot of people will agree with this sentiment. It's time to move on. It's time to kind of, do a little rebuild, maybe gut it a little bit. I mean, James Hurst even agrees with that. It's time to gut it because it ain't working and you're getting too old on that roster.
No question about that part. They are getting far, far too old, and the only way to fix that is with the draft. So let's talk about some of the candidates that have popped up with names of folks that are supposedly being contacted and requested for interview. You got Aaron Glenn, you got Joe Brady, you got Mike Vrabel. What is your reaction to some of these names that are trickling out, and have any surprised you?
No, none of them have surprised me. Not at all. I mean, but I'll be honest with you, Mike Vrabel is going to take the Patriots job, so they can just go scratch that one off, all right? Either Patriots or Bears, and he's not coming here. And I also don't like to hear the words people don't want to come here. While I have criticized, the front office and some of the decisions that have been made, I still think they have a good owner. I still think the Saints have a good owner, but it's probably the roster that's scaring a lot of people away. We can go into detail about how I think that, people shouldn't be scared to come take this job because look what Dan Campbell did in Detroit. And that was a far worse situation than what the Saints are dealing with. I mean, he took over a disaster, and look where they're at now. So that's my opinion on the Saints situation. So I mean, look, I told you I want an offensive-minded head coach if it were me. I mean, Joe Brady's 35. I mean, little skins on the wall. I mean, he's done a good job, but how will he be Can he command the room? Can he be a leader? Can he do that, when Josh Allen isn't your quarterback? That becomes the question, So that's where Aaron Glenn comes to the top of the mind, because he's had to deal with the injuries. He's, had to build from bottom up with Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, who, by the way, would be my top choice as the head coach for the Saints, is Ben Johnson. But at least he's been there, seen it, and done it. How would he do here? Can he build a staff? Are they going to force him to keep the offensive staff? Is also the question. But no, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at who's on that list.
Darren Rizzi is on that list. Your thoughts there?
The players love him, man. The players do love him and respect him a lot. They really spoke highly of him since he took over for Dennis Allen, and he even said it again yesterday. I mean, Alvin Kamara vouched for him. He would like to see him as the next head coach, but understands the decision isn't on the players. And a very passionate guy. I mean, a Jersey guy, so he's passionate. Loved the team, loved the city, and he got emotional after the game Sunday. About this job and the players and the organization. I just think it's a long shot. He's gonna have a shot, but I believe it's a long shot.
What is the future of Derek Carr?
He said he's not taking a pay cut yesterday. And look, it's not his fault that he's not going to take a pay cut. They're the ones who gave him the money. So if Sharif and Hunt were making $40 million a year, they said, "We need to take a pay cut." I'm not taking a pay cut. Sorry, you gave me that money. Now he's willing to restructure, but he's not taking a pay cut. I don't know, man. I mean, it's going to be a rebuild. I mean, it's going to be a situation where they're probably at 5 wins, 4, 5, 6 wins next year. So maybe they just cut them loose and try to save the money post June 1st cut, and try to save them $28, $29, $30 million. So I wouldn't be surprised if they cut them loose. I mean, it's just not fit.
Another unanswerable question, but I think an interesting conversation nonetheless. What do you think the conversation is like between the candidates who are interviewing with the Saints executives and their discussions about Derek Carr? Do you think the next coach gets to make that call? Do you think they're kind of telling what they think in terms of the salary cap? How do you think that conversation goes?
The conversation has to be hey, listen, Mickey, do I have to keep him? Are you tied to him? I mean, we have a ex-head coach has a player in mind that they would like to bring in. We would like to know if you'd let us make the decision on our head quarterback and our staff. I just don't see, Derek fitting on our team if I'm the head coach. And Mickey can fire back with, well, we owe him this much money. We have to keep him at least 1 year. And maybe they say, fine, we'll do it for 1 year. And they'll just see what happens next year. But I'd assume that coach is going to want the decision on who his quarterback is, because it's Dennis' quarterback. It's not the new coach's quarterback. They may not want that quarterback. Look what Dan did when he went to Detroit. He traded Matthew Stafford and got Jared Goff. He wanted that quarterback, and they got picks in return. They're not getting that. Let's be honest. They are not getting any first-round picks and a Jared Goff in a trade. So I think the new head coach is going to probably say, I don't, necessarily need to have Derek Carr as my quarterback, and we could just go ahead and start working for the future.
It's definitely an interesting time down there in New Orleans, and it'll certainly materialize as the week progresses. Sharif, we appreciate the time. We'll talk next week and see if the Saints are closer to finding a coach.
All right, but it's going to be a long process. I think it's going to be quite a few weeks before they find a head coach.
I would agree with that. We'll catch up with you down the road. Thanks, man. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.